People who study history and people who are just interested in it have both been puzzled by the strange disappearance of the Roanoke colony in 1590. For generations, it has been a difficult puzzle, like a riddle with missing parts. Now, though, things may be changing because an expert says they have completely solved the case. Can you picture a whole colony disappearing and only leaving vague hints behind? What happened to the people who lived in Roanoke? And how does someone think they know the answers to this historical puzzle? Come with us as we talk about this amazing story. The Roanoke colony in America, one of the first European settlements in North America, disappeared in 159. The first settlers arrived on an island off the coast of North America in the early days of the New World, built homes, and started farming. Within 3 years, they turned their land into a small village. However, they disappeared and were never seen again. In October 2020, new evidence emerged that sheds light on what happened to the settlers. A group of English residents set sail for Roanoke Island in May 1587, setting up a community that had been there for 2 years. However, earlier attempts had failed, and most of the people had left to go back to their home country. The second group of settlers, led by a man named White, arrived on Roanoke Island in July 1587. They were led by a man named White, who had been part of the first settlement that failed. The records show that there were 115 men, women, and babies in their group, including the governor's daughter, who was soon to have her own baby. She would have been the first English child born in North America, but White had to leave the new settlement just 10 days after this historic event. It looked like supplies were running out. The governor of Roanoke left his family on Roanoke Island and started a long trip across the Atlantic to get more resources. Unfortunately, White's trip went on longer than he thought it would, and he found his goal when he got back to England. The threat of the Spanish Armada, which was determined to invade the British Isles, kept Sir Francis Drake's forces busy for 2 years. Eventually, the enemy was defeated, and the governor of Roanoke could finally return. By the time White arrived back on the island, 3 years had passed, and instead of a bustling settlement, he found it empty and overgrown. The message without a trace that the people who disappeared seemed to have left behind, carved into a white tree, is almost as famous as the annual Lost Colony. Before White and his men could look into it any further, a terrible storm hit the abandoned settlement, damaging their ships so much that they had to turn around and go back to England. Rowan's governor died without being able to raise enough money to go back to the New World and look for his missing family. Many ideas have been put forward to explain what happened to the Roanoke colony, such as leaving Rowan Island and moving to Croon Island, which is now called Hatteras Island. Some experts believe that the settlers may have had a hard time staying alive without supplies, and that White's relatives and the rest of the settlers just became part of the native tribe. Little is known about the legend that later colonists went on an expedition to find out what happened to their ancestors, meeting the chief of the poet and people who told them that Grimm had killed the colonists. However, there is not much evidence to back this up. The question of what happened to the people of Roanoke has been a contentious topic in American history. In 2012, scientists discovered 2 strange spots on the L. Virginia Pars map, which showed some of the first colonies on the eastern side of North America. The new town on Roanoke Island was shown on the plan, but when a team from the people who started the first colony was surprised to find something more closely, they found a secret symbol in the shape of a star with 4 points hiding under one of the patches. This spot is thought to be where a fort is located 50 miles away. In 2015, a group of people went to Bertie County, North Carolina, and found more than 20 pieces of pottery that looked like they were from England. The pottery pieces were thought to have been made before the second half of the 17th century, and it looks like the items were left behind by Europeans who came to North Carolina before the first known inhabitants. Ground-penetrating radar was used to get them there from Roanoke. 2 months later, LTI and his team found another possible spot of interest in Bertie County, and in December 2019, they went back to do more digging there, just like they did at the first site. Reports say that the pieces at what became known as Site Wide came from a number of places. However, not everyone seems to agree. Charles Yuan from East Carolina University told National Geographic that the First Colony Foundation is trying to prove their idea, not disprove it. If these pottery shards aren't proof that the colonists moved to Bertie County, what are they? In a 2015 interview with National Geographic archaeologist Brett Riggs, he said that the artifacts did not necessarily mean that Europeans had lived in Bertie County. For example, the pottery could have been thrown away by members of the native community, only to be found centuries later by stump experts. An archaeologist who worked on Roanoke Island in the past said it was hard to put such an exact date on the finds. He told Artnet that it was right in the middle of an enemy country and that they would never go there. Scott Dawson, who helped to start the Crone Archaeological Society, says that Bertie County is not a likely place for the lost colonialists to end up. From 2009 to now, archaeologists have been funding excavations at Cape Creek on Hatteras Island, where they have found a number of European artifacts. The preservation group Jamestown Rediscovery's William M. Kello told Artnet that what has been found so far at Site EA in Bertie County seems to solve one of the biggest riddles in early American history: the Odyssey of the Lost Colony. Can we say goodbye to Roanoke now? That's what Kello thinks. And now we know what happened when an American bomber fell into Sandwich Bay in 1943. This is it for today. We hope you enjoyed the video. If so, then share your thoughts in the comments and also share this video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you can never miss our video.